Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminolly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, all of the above, it's my weekly wrap-up. So I'm filming this slightly later than normal on Saturday. My normal Saturday routine is get up early, read for a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours, and then film my weekly wrap-up video. This Saturday, my schedule has been thrown into complete disarray by the fact we're having some work done on the bedroom. The master bedroom is being refurnished and redecorated. So my lair here is full of boxes, and I've spent all morning dismantling a huge 6-door wardrobe, so I've had no reading time at all this morning. But it did give me an opportunity to catch up on booktube videos a bit. So I had some of my favourite booktubers accompanying me on my iPad while I was destroying the wardrobe. Well, I say destroying, dismantling the wardrobe. Anyway, lots to talk about. So I've had a pretty good reading week this week. So I'm going to talk about what I've read this week, plans for the coming week in terms of books, some other stuff, so some booktube events I'm going to be taking part in, and then a tiny bit of channel stuff as well at the end. So in terms of what I have read this week, so I finished The Gods of Mars by Edgar Burroughs, the second of the Barsoom books, which was great fun. I think I enjoyed it more than the first. The action sequences seemed better to me than the first, and there was this really long kind of gladiatorial type sequence which was just fantastically enjoyable. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Then read Confessions by, I'm going to remind myself of the author's name, Kanae Minato, which is a really good, really creepy Japanese crime novel, which I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do a standalone review of, because it was really, really good. But it opens with a scene where a teacher accuses her class of having murdered her daughter, and it kind of spirals from there. But it was really, really good. It was a first novel by the author, but she has written some more things since, so I think I'll be checking out more by her. Then returned to my pulp roots and read the 13th Edge book, A Town Called Hate by George G. Gilman, which was not one of the best, but still very entertaining and fantastically gory at times. It had a scene set in a sawmill. You can probably imagine the kind of thing that happened. So yeah, it was pretty entertaining. And then for February Fantasy Stories, I read my second book. So for Sword and Sorcery, I read Elric of Melnibone. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I've discovered recently I've been pronouncing Melnibone wrong my entire life. So I first read the Elric books as a teenager when YouTube was far from a thing, and when I just looked at what the word was on the cover and properly pronounced it Melnibone. I think at some point I realised there was an accent, so I kind of tweaked that to be Melnibone. But having looked on Google, it seems the correct stress is to stress the nib part, so it's Melnibone apparently. Anyway, that was a reread for me, so I had read that. I read it as a teenager and read it more recently as well. I think I read it about 8 years ago. But that fantastically good fantasy novel. Really dark, much grimmer than I expected. Even though I'd read it before, I'd forgotten quite how dark parts of it are. There's some torture sequences which are really horrific. But yeah, very, very, very entertaining. And I will probably continue with the Elric series, I think, and read some more of those, because I really did enjoy that one. And then after that, something somewhat different, a kind of satirical, I guess, horror novel, or horror novella I should say, called The Blood Beast Mutations by Carl John Lee, which was published in 2020, so I think it's an independently published novella, and is the author's reaction to the COVID pandemic, basically, and to Donald Trump's handling of the COVID pandemic. And the author, there's an afterword where the author says that, you know, some people might find even the concept of writing a book about the pandemic offensive, but that it was a heartfelt book for him. So this is a book where a virus has hit the world, and it's a it's being questioned by the American president, who's never named as Trump, but is clearly Trump, who blames the media for everything and so on and so forth. But this virus then mutates into horrible monsters that burst out of people and kill everyone. So it was a somewhat silly, but I think it genuinely was heartfelt. It was entertaining. It was very fast paced. Kind of took the form of one of those many zombie novels that you can get on Amazon on Kindle Unlimited nowadays. So the hero trying to get across the city to his wife, who was in hospital, with a swarm of these creatures running around getting in his way, and a militia as well, also trying to stop him. So yeah, very violent, very entertaining, quite gory. So a good fun read. And I'm now reading a book called 6 Stories by Matt Wesolowski. Now this is a bit of a spoiler, and it hadn't really ever occurred to me before, but I film my videos. I tend to film videos when I've got time. So I quite often film a number of videos in one go, and then don't post them for a while. And obviously it depends on the content of the video. So the weekly wrap-ups I always film on the day, because otherwise I'm not going to know what to say. And similarly with like monthly TBR videos and monthly wrap-up videos, I tend to film those, when you'd expect. So at the end of the month or beginning of the month. But my other videos, I film, whenever I've got the opportunity to, or whenever inspiration strikes. And what that means is I filmed yesterday an unboxing video for the Abominable Book Club box, which will go out on Monday. But one of the books in that is another book by this author, and getting that book in the box reminded me that I had his books on my Kindle. So I'm now reading this book, 6 Stories, which is really great so far. I'm about a quarter of the way through, I think. And it's a mystery novel. I think the books have got a horror element as well, but at the moment it's just a mystery. But it's told, so it's about a teenage boy who went missing at a kind of outward bound, kind of in the country type event, holiday for teenagers type thing. And his body was then subsequently found like a year later. And now, 15 years on, someone's making a podcast about it. And the title of the podcast is 6 Stories, because the podcaster interviews 6 different people about a historic crime. And there's now, I think, 5 or 6 books in this series, most of which I've got on my Kindle. So it's a really interesting format, because a lot of it is just, conversation between the interviewer, the podcaster, and someone who was involved in the crime or was around at the time, and other bits are monologues from the podcaster about his experiences making the podcast. So it's quite an unusual format, but it works really well. So I'm very much enjoying that so far, and we'll probably do a review of that as well when I finished it, because it feels quite appropriate for the channel. And yeah, beyond that, I've got a load of other things in my TBR, which just aren't grabbing me at the moment, to be honest with you. So 6 Stories wasn't on my TBR for February, and neither was the Blood Beast Mutations, but I was just in the mood for that kind of thing. So I've got Shuggie Bain, which I did read the first chapter or so of, by Douglas Stuart, but it's a kind of serious book. And I just wasn't really in the mood for it. It won the Booker Prize, so that's the kind of book it is. So I put that down again, and we'll pick it up at some point. I've also got The Return of the King by Tolkien to read, to complete the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But again, I'm not really in the mood for that. So I think I'm going to read a few shorter things. I'm up to book, I think, 56 in my 100 book challenge now. So I kind of feel like the end is in sight. So I'm almost tempted to just read a bunch of really short things to try and get through it a bit quicker. Yeah, we'll see what I do with that. So as I say, I'm about 56 books through the 100 book challenge. As I said, I'm also taking part in February Fantasy Stories, so I'm definitely this week will be reading my dark fantasy pick for that, which was At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft. And I've also seen there's a couple of March events that are coming up, which I'm very interested in taking part in. So there's one called March Mystery Madness, which I think has been running for a good few years on BookTube now, but I'm a newbie to BookTube still, so I'd not heard of it before. But it's a month where you read mystery novels, which obviously is right up my alley, and the theme is 2 by 2, and I think you can interpret that in any way you see fit. So I'm going to have a think about that. I might read 2 books from 2 different series. So I've got the Matthew Hope series, which I think I've read the first 2 of by Ed McBain. So I might read a couple more of those, and then a couple from another series. We'll see. I'll do a bit more thinking about that and announce my intentions before the beginning of March. And then the other one is March of the Mammoths, where you have to read a book over 800 pages long. So I've got a few thoughts about what I might read for that. I'm tempted to read Gone with the Wind, because it's a book I've kind of always wanted to read because it's so famous. I think I'm particularly interested in reading it at the moment because of its, it's clearly problematic take on racism and slavery. And I've been thinking a lot about the fact that a lot of the books I read are, can be problematic in various ways, particularly about gender, but in other ways as well. So it'd be interesting to read such a famous book that has problems. I just watched this morning when I was dismantling the wardrobe, Shelley Swearengen's review of Gone with the Wind, which I thought was very interesting. I'll try and remember to put a link to that in the description for the video. So yeah, that's one that does appeal. I've also got, and I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I can't remember which is the first one. I think it's the Neutronium. I think it's the Reality Dysfunction. Actually, is the first one by Peter F. Hamilton. So that would definitely qualify. There's a book I've got on my Kindle called Ducks Newburyport by Lucy someone. I will remember, I'll put up a picture of it to let you know what the name is, which is a book that is, I think, about 900 pages long, and is effectively just one sentence, which I did try and read before, but it was very difficult. I'll put up a screenshot of what it looks like on Kindle so you can see it for yourself. So yeah, I have tried that one before, and I'm definitely intrigued by it. But whether or not I'll be in the mood for a 900-page sentence come March is another question. So we'll see. And what else have I got? Oh, I've got The Terror by Dan Simmons, which I think is probably over 800 pages. So I'm gonna trawl through my Kindle and look through my bookshelves and see what options I've got. And then at some point, probably this week, I will put a poll up on the community tab, and people can vote and help me pick which of the books I should read for March of the Mammoths. And I'm hoping, I don't know if I'm going to get there. I'm just trying to think about days and how quickly I read and stuff. I'm kind of almost hoping that Mammoth might be the first book I read after I finish the 100 book challenge, but I think that's probably wishful thinking. I think I probably won't finish the 100 book challenge until well into April. But we'll see. So other stuff then. So I did put up a post on the community tab about my kind of revised schedule that I'm going to be going with on the channel. And as always, we'll see how it goes. I've tried different things. But what I'm intending to do is on a Monday do like a potluck day, which means I might post a video on any subject. It'll be book related, but any kind of video, or I might not post anything if I need a break. Tuesday will be tag day. Wednesday will be library tour until I've finished doing the library tour, or possibly library tour or what's on my Kindle. So I think I will be able to keep going with those for a good few months probably. Thursdays will be a review day, so I will try and always have a review up on Thursday. Friday will be another kind of potluck or day off. And then Saturday will be the weekly wrap up, and Sunday I'm going to try doing kind of commenty type videos. So I've got a couple I filmed already. So these will be videos not about a specific book, but about a book related subject. So yeah, I've got 2 that I filmed already, and I've got some ideas for some more. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, you should get at least 5 videos a week from me if that appeals to you. Possibly 6 or 7, depending on how much I've got to say that week. And then the other thing I wanted to do today is open this. So this, I've started opening it already because it looked like a very tough pack to get into. But this landed on the doormat this morning. So a publisher called Laszlo Tamasfi, apologies Laszlo, I'm probably completely mispronouncing your name, contacted me via email about a week or so ago to say he runs a publishing company and he's republishing some interesting old pulp novels, and he very kindly offered to send me one for review, which is here. Oh my goodness, he's actually sent me two. So this is the book. So it is America's first vampire novel, apparently. So it's called The Vampire, or Detective Brand's Greatest Case. This is, I believe, I think it was originally published in a different language and has been translated. Let's read the blurb. Let me read the blurb for you. So, America's first vampire novel is back in print. Horror historians Gary D. Rhodes and John Edgar Browning present a long-lost slice of American literature. The Vampire is a detective dime novel that predates both Dracula and the first appearance of Sherlock Holmes, and it's sure to thrill audiences today, just as it did back in 1885. So yeah, this looks fascinating. It's a lovely little book. It's got some illustrations and things as well, which are really neat. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to reading this. I think I misspoke when I said it was translated. I think it's this one, which he's also sent me, which I think is the first book he published, which is the one that's translated. So let me read you the blurb of this. The first motion picture to ever feature the character of Dracula was Dracula's Death, a Hungarian silent film made in 1921. It was not based on Bram Stoker's novel, but rather it was an original story about a young woman who encounters the famous vampire during her stay at a mental asylum. The movie, just like so many others from the silent film era, is considered lost. Luckily, a prose adaptation was published in 1924, which has survived in its entirety. We present an English translation of this novelisation with stunning new illustrations. This publication also features Devil Flew Away, a comprehensive essay on the history of Dracula's death. So this is amazing, and a novelisation of a silent movie. I didn't realise movies that long ago got novelised. So the fact that it was novelised and then in Hungarian and has then been translated into English, there's I guess that's the original movie poster. But yeah, this just looks absolutely brilliant. So yeah, very much looking forward to reading this, or both of these. I think this is a really interesting new publisher. I'm going to have to check what the publishing house is called because I cannot remember. Strangers from Nowhere Press. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea, republishing some classic old stuff. So yeah, I very much look forward to reading these, and I will report back when I've read them. Do let me know in the comments what you've been reading this week. I'm going to spend a bit of time reading this afternoon. I think I've earned it after destroying that wardrobe. But yeah, I hope everyone's safe and well. I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, let me know what you've been reading, and I will speak to you again soon. Cheerio.